Welcome. This is Shirley Manson from Garbage, and I'm in the hang in Launch City.
Hi, I'm Butch Vig from Garbage, and welcome to Launch.
You know, you've got these three geniuses and then this loud-mouthed idiot. And I think maybe that's how they perceive. Oh, I think the detractors of the band probably perceive it that way. When in fact it's four idiots. My mum loved the name Angelfish because I had previously been in a band called Goodbye Mr. Mackenzie and she hated that name. So when I started Angelfish, she was like, oh, I love that name. And she used to enjoy telling all her friends, you know, Shirley's in a band called Angelfish. And this was approved of. And then when I got invited to America to record with Butch Vig and co, I said, you know, this is what's happening, Mum. And she was like, oh, that's incredible. I said, there's one drawback. And she said, and what's that? I said, the band's called Garbage. And she went, oh! They like having someone who's much more of an extrovert, much more verbal and upfront, and they're very pragmatic and not really like that at all. They really think before they speak, and I'm the complete opposite. I'm the pit bull, and they're sort of the dog walkers. I'll be like, you know, forget it, let's finish, let's move on. And they're the complete opposite. They're like, no, it's not finished, let's tinker some more. And I think if it wasn't for the fact that I was in the band, I think they'd get nothing done. I really believe that. It's like, I think I have to come in and say, okay, enough's enough, we're finishing now. It's almost like the movie Blade Runner, you know, where the scene was set in a sort of a timeless zone where there was all these different elements of things past and future and different languages and different influences, and so I sort of see our music kind of like that, the way Ridley Scott made that movie. Is like it's a sort of vision of the moment but using lots of different references from places and time. That sounds really arty-farty and pretentious. We arrive at the studios to record one of our songs and Chrissie Hynde is there, who has been one of my all-time heroines and during my adolescence possibly saved my life. So she was there and she was singing an acoustic version of Kid, which is a very famous Pretender song, which again I listened to over and over when I was a teenager, and she kind of sauntered over to us, really cool. She had like tight leather pants on and she looked amazing, and I was sort of quivering and shaking and thinking, be cool. Be cool, this is your big moment. And she walked over and she went, hey, I love you guys, I love your music. And I went, and I sort of flung myself at her feet and I went, I love you. It was the only thing I could think of saying, and I could see the three other members of the band look at me in absolute horror, you know, like, how could you be losing your cool like this?
Initially, a lot of the focus was on me because of my connection with the Pumpkins and with Nirvana. And it was actually to the point where it got sort of irritating because we would do interviews and they would ask a few questions about Garbage, and they would want to ask me about, you know, what was in Kurt Cobain's mind, and we kind of just brushed that all aside. But I think we're more comfortable with it now. I mean, it's having Shirley, a lot of the attention focused on her, I think, is a good thing. We knew we wanted to release Push It as the first single, and that was the first track that we mixed. And I think that actually had the most tracks on the song too, I think 127, and it took us 6 days to finish, and we went mental doing it. But once we finished it, it kind of gave us an idea where we wanted to go on some of the other songs. After playing so many shows in 1996, we wanted to translate some of that live energy into the recording process, so we took a very short break over the Christmas holidays and we went into the studio and we started recording, basically the four of us jamming and improvising. I hate to use the term jamming because we're not a very good jamming band, but so a lot of the songs came out of just improvising lyrics or a drum and bass groove or a guitar riff, and they were much more focused around Shirley singing this time in her melodies, and whereas I think on the first record she had to kind of fit that into a big puzzle.